Assalamu alaikum, I'm Zahra Syed. Our top story for today. Matt Nelson set himself on fire near the Israeli consulate in Boston on Wednesday evening to protest Israel's ongoing war on Gaza. In a heartfelt YouTube video, Nelson declared, "We are all culpable in the ongoing genocide in Gaza," urging the United States government to stop funding and supplying weapons to Israel. He urged the Biden administration to support international legal actions against Israeli leaders. First responders confirmed that Nelson suffered severe burn injuries, though his current condition remains unknown. NBC Boston and other local news outlets were criticized on social media for reporting the incident's location as outside the Four Seasons Hotel instead of by the Israeli consulate. This marks the third self-immolation in the United States over the last year related to protests against Israel's war on Gaza. Last December, a woman whose identity remains unknown set herself on fire while carrying the Palestinian flag outside the Israeli consulate in Atlanta. She was hospitalized in critical condition. In another incident, 25-year-old Aaron Bushnell, an active-duty U.S. airman, died after dousing himself in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. on February 25th. Observers say these desperate gestures highlight the intense emotions and urgent calls for actions against Israel. Israeli airstrikes have killed at least 46 Palestinians and left scores unwounded since Saturday. The Palestinian Health Ministry reports that since Sunday evening alone, 20 people were killed and 76 injured in the relentless attacks. A particularly harrowing strike at the Nusayrat camp killed 10. Amongst them were women and children, as Israeli warplanes targeted a residential home. Over 15 individuals were injured in the single incident. Witnesses describe a scene at the Al-Oda hospital where a mother and her child and her 5 siblings were amongst those killed by Israel. The hospital has confirmed that another 13 individuals were wounded in Israel's ongoing violence. Rescue teams are tirelessly searching through the debris of demolished homes looking for survivors. Israel's war has displaced nearly the entire population of Gaza, creating an acute humanitarian crisis. The blockade by Israeli forces has severely restricted access to food, clean water, and medical supplies. However, the destruction extends beyond Gaza. In the occupied West Bank near Jericho, Israeli settlers have launched assaults on local Palestinian students and teachers, worsening tensions in the region. Israel has killed at least 41,226 Palestinians and wounded 95,413 in its ongoing war in Gaza since last October. The British medical journal The Lancet, however, has estimated that direct and indirect Israeli violence may have killed approximately 186,000 civilians in Gaza. Israel faces accusations of genocide for its war in Gaza at the International Court of Justice. Despite Israeli restrictions, Muslims at the Al-Ibrahimi Mosque in the occupied West Bank city of Hebron celebrated the Miladun Nabi, the birth of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Motaz Abu Sunaina is director of the Ibrahimi Mosque Foundation. He said that the Israeli soldiers closed the doors of the mosque and conducted strict security inspections. We will talk about the global celebrations for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's birth anniversary after the break. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Muslims worldwide are celebrating Miladun Nabi, the birth anniversary of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, with festivities and prayers across various nations. The special day, observed on the 12th of Rabiul Awwal, the third month in the Islamic calendar, is marked with different customs, from religious gatherings to acts of charity. In Turkey, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan extended heartfelt wishes, highlighting the importance of peace for all of humanity. Istanbul's historic mosques, including Hagia Sophia, hosted prayers with thousands of worshippers in attendance on Sunday. Similar events were observed at the Barbaros Hayrettin Pasha Mosque in Istanbul. Egypt's streets were filled with vibrant celebrations, with processions, hymns, and the distribution of sweets in Qais village, Minya. Across India, special prayers, processions, and charity drives took place in cities like Hyderabad and Lucknow, with homes and streets adorned in decorations. In Indian-administered Kashmir, massive crowds offered prayers at the Hazrat Bal shrine. Yemen's capital, Sana'a, saw people gather for the occasion, with Houthi leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi delivering a speech. In Nigeria, large crowds came together to honor the Prophet with festivities, while in Tunisia, the city of Kairouan hosted religious gatherings and hymns. Iraqi Muslims in Erbil held similar celebrations, praying for blessings and peace. Muslims say these global celebrations emphasize unity, kindness, and devotion to the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The Prophet died on the same day as that of his birth at the age of 63. The day is a public holiday in several Muslim-majority countries, including Bangladesh, Indonesia, Pakistan, Malaysia, and some parts of India. 75-year-old Lalu Bibi passed away on Wednesday at Indian-administered Kashmir's Hiranagar subjail, where she had been held since March 2021. Activists report that she was the 7th Rohingya to die in the facility, which currently detains nearly 270 refugees indefinitely. Despite processing UNHCR refugee cards, many Rohingya in India face detention without pending court cases or sentences. The UNHCR reports that 676 Rohingya refugees are detained across the country, with 608 having no legal charges against them. Last year, a 5-month-old baby girl died in the same facility amid protests against indefinite detention. The refugees fleeing persecution in Burma demand either release or resettlement through the UNHCR, calling for immediate humanitarian intervention. Legal advocates condemn the Rohingyas' detention as illegal and a form of torture, urging the Indian government to uphold international law. Fazal Abdali, a lawyer who is part of a legal aid team for the Rohingya, said that it is tragic to witness such deaths happening under illegal detention. An estimated 40,000 Rohingyas have sought asylum in India. UNHCR India has acknowledged the presence of 18,000 Rohingya who are registered as refugees. Over 100 Rohingya Muslims and 30 Christian Chin refugees, all from Burma, have been on a hunger strike since Monday to protest their indefinite detention at a camp in the northern Indian state of Assam. The United States has pledged $202 million to support Bangladesh. The grant aims to promote good governance, social and economic opportunities, and strengthen Bangladesh's resilience against climate challenges. This marks the first delegation from a Western country to engage with Bangladesh's transitional government since August. Led by Assistant Treasury Secretary Brent Neiman, the U.S. team met with the President Muhammad Yunus in the capital Dhaka. Neiman reaffirmed America's dedication to inclusive growth, institution building, and climate resilience. Discussions with Bangladeshi business leaders also highlighted potential U.S. investment and trade collaborations to unlock the country's growth potential. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has intensified his campaign against Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, announcing plans for mass deportations if he is reelected. Speaking at his Los Angeles golf course, Trump vowed, "We are going to get these people out. We're bringing them back to Venezuela." This statement targets the predominantly legally residing Haitian community, many of whom hold temporary protected status. Immigrant rights advocates have condemned Trump's remarks as Hitlerian rhetoric and dehumanizing, warning that they could incite political violence. Vanessa Cardenas of America's Voice highlighted the broader anti-immigrant agenda, likening Trump's language to dangerous historical tropes. Additionally, threats have been made against local schools and buildings following Trump's and running mate Senator JD Vance's unfounded claims about Haitian immigrants. In Colorado, immigrant rights groups have denounced the deportation threats, affirming their communities' resilience against such divisive tactics. The situation underscores escalating tensions over immigration policies ahead of the elections. Republican vice presidential candidate Senator JD Vance is defending his promotion of unverified stories about Haitian migrants allegedly stealing and eating pets in Springfield, Ohio. This comes despite local officials reporting no evidence to support these claims. In multiple television interviews on Sunday, Vance claims he had received verifiable and confirmable accounts from residents but did not provide specific evidence. He said everybody who has dealt with a large influx of migration knows that sometimes there are cultural practices that seem very far out there to a lot of Americans. Are we not allowed to talk about this in the United States of America? The controversy follows Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump's mention of the unfounded story. This was during his high-stakes debate with Democratic presidential contender Vice President Kamala Harris last week, which drew 67 million viewers. Analysts argue that such claims stoke misinformation and target immigration policies. A powerful group of senior student debtors held their first ever mass protest outside the White House. They carried mock tombstones emblazoned with messages like, "Death is not a relief plan," and "Stop burying us in debt." Borrowers over the age of 50 are now the fastest growing group with student loans. They are urging the Biden-Harris administration to use federal regulations to cancel their debt based on age. Mostly women, including many Black women in public service, the seniors are calling for urgent policy changes to end their debt crisis before it deepens. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, says America's obesity crisis has reached a record high. The National Public Health Agency reports that in 2023, 23 states had adult obesity rates of 35% or higher. This was a sharp increase from 0 more than a decade earlier. 1 in 5 adult Americans struggles with obesity, with Midwestern and Southern states in the lead. As well, West Virginia, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana hold record high rates, with each surpassing the 40% mark. West Virginia remains the highest at 41.2%, which experts say is driven by low physical activity and food insecurity. The states of Washington and Colorado have the lowest rates of obesity. However, no state falls below 1 in 5 obese adults. The CDC is urging that the fight against obesity be made a national priority. The United States is observing National Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th. The commemoration highlights the rich diversity and cultural contributions of over 65 million Hispanic Americans. It showcases the traditions, music, art, and cuisine of Hispanic communities from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Latin America. Initially, it was a one-week celebration in 1968, which expanded to a month in the 1980s. Coincides with Independence Days in Mexico, Central America, and Chile. Hispanics are the largest growing ethnic group in the United States. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you news that you can trust. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment on what you thought of today's coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum.